A little bit. I'm sure we can relate the same.
Vocal test.
So, I'm Dwayne Hearn. This is Ruby Wolf, Matthew Hearn. I'll introduce our guest in a few seconds, but we're here for our very first podcast. We're not quite sure on the name yet. We've been playing around with a few ideas. We had Crew Life, which came up, but then that sounded maybe a bit boaty. The next was Movement Lifestyle. So we'll definitely get back to that. Maybe we get some feedback from the viewers and see where we can go. But we've got a basic idea of wanting to bring ideas to a South African audience and get South Africans communicating. Hey guys?
That's exactly where we are.
Yeah, share knowledge, speak to specialists. So Martin's a specialist in a number of fields, which we're obviously going to talk about today.
Yep.
And from there, see where we take this. We want to speak to people in South Africa, South Africans, maybe a couple of international guests, and really take opportunity to share knowledge within South Africa rather than hold it close to our own chests.
That's
as what happens naturally. Yeah.
That's it. Okay, so we are coming to you today from the Balance Yoga Studio. I got it right, Marty. Yes, 10 points to Gryffindor. In Linksfield, and this is part of the spine clinic where Dr. Marty runs a practice. Doc Marty is a chiro, actually got me believing in the chiro practice, and before I thought it was a bunch of dark magic. It is still dark magic, but he's a pro at the dark. He's a pro at the dark arts. So Marty, I think let's just start off with, give us a bit of background on you. What do you do here? Maybe how you got into chiro, and kind of where you're at now in your practice. Let's start with that.
So I've qualified 2004, and you've heard the story before of how I ended up becoming a chiro, and it's quite a lengthy one, and so I'll touch on it maybe a bit later. So I was in practice, and I just found it to be quite frustrating because I didn't have the tools that you qualify, you get this piece of paper, and then you're like, okay, well, I don't know anything. So there was this constant need for me to go, okay, I've got to learn more, I've got to try more, I've got to do this. And then I spent techniques, and I studied in Hong Kong for a bit, and we did these light touch energy techniques and that type of stuff. That didn't satisfy me. And then I tried this and that and dieting, and slowly there's this evolution of our clinic moving towards something called functional medicine. So functional medicine is looking at the human body and trying to increase performance and not just focus on symptoms. So it's very much the movement of looking at body composition, for example. I'm just saying, well, you are overweight, let's take care of that, and maybe that'll stop your headaches. Looking at the body from that kind of perspective. So I'm trying to build a system that's more inclusive, very much like the chiros were back in the day. And we've been out-trained. We were very much trained as purely just musculoskeletal.
So is that what you think is happening now in South Africa with chiros?
So they've removed the philosophy out of chiropractic. So chiros were quite hardcore back in the day. They were like almost evangelical. Like, you can heal the world, all you need is a good spinal adjustment, and I think they were a little bit extreme. But they needed that at the time to give the profession the momentum that it has now. And we do need to maintain a scientific approach. But what is a profession that's healing people that doesn't acknowledge philosophy? It's ridiculous. Like your gym without a philosophy behind it is, where's the stuff that buys you in, that makes you go, okay, well, this is worthwhile. So there was always this. I was always the guy at varsity getting hucked by everybody and being made fun of because I would talk about karma and energy and crystals and magnet healing and lasers, and they were like, "Yo, Marty, you're going to meditate people better one day." I was like, "You watch me, I will."
Trying to put all this yoga stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, let's be open-minded. I think if we're going to fall into this, and we had this discussion recently, it was like, you can't just get into this totally scientific, dogmatic, hardcore, I follow science when you live in a quantum body, and how can you not look at emotions and mind and spirit and thoughts and urges and cravings, and let's try to look at that, not just be too scientific. So looking at diet, looking at function and improving that. That's where the philosophy of the clinic's taking us, and by no means have we reached a destination. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah,
as you go day by day.
Big time.
So let's say let's go from like step one. You get a client in, okay. And I think this is going to kind of lead into your journey that you're currently at. So you get a client in, they come in, and part of your frustration, as I understood it from our conversation the other days, you adjust them, they feel better, and then that's the last you ever see of them.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, what's the pathway that if we want to get better or healthier, what's the pathway that we should be looking at if we want to go like the chiro route, or we get an injury in sports performance? Let's stick to that for this section.
Yeah. So the basic philosophy on which chiropractic was founded was, if the brain can communicate well with the tissues, it'll send the right signals and the body will heal. If there's an imbalance or there's a misalignment or dysfunction at a spinal level, it's going to press on the nerve in the same way that if I take this microphone cable and start tweaking a little bit, I might affect the performance of the mic signals going through to the phone.
Yeah.
So if I've got a dysfunctional liver and the nerve that goes to the liver is being impeded or being pressed on at T9, and you give it an adjustment, relieve the pressure on the nerve, maybe the liver starts to function a bit better. That was the original premise of chiropractic. And they're now trying to slowly but surely prove it through the scientific model. It just takes time. So that's where the guys will come into me and say, Doc, I've got this terrible neck pain, and we start treating, and that was my training, is come in, let me get your neck sorted out, and then off they went. And I was like, but am I really, surely I'm doing exactly what my GP does, is give you a little bit of treatment, off you go, you feel better, cheers, duck. And then the guy would come back 6 weeks later, 10 weeks later, 3 months later, and they'd come back and I'd be like, okay, so you're back, problem's there again. So we needed a more encompassing approach. So then I started looking at just how, for example, I went to a lecture with Dr. Barkauskas, who's the Lithuanian Olympic team doctor. Yes. Super awesome doctor. I called him up after a lecture. I said, Boyki, listen, I've got this patient with chronic knee arthritis. What are we going to do? He said, well, you start at the mouth. And I was like, no, he's got arthritis in the knee. You start at the mouth. And I kind of thought, what I'm missing you here. What are you talking about? And he said, well, listen, the blood that's going past this knee is nourished in the mouth. So how can you address something that's a symptom over here, but not addressing the quality of the blood that's going through the system? So how's about we look at that person's diet, and let's look at what foods they're eating that are inflaming and create inflammation, and get those under control. And something just sparked, and I was like, oh my God, this is the business. Because previous to that, I'd go, sure, hit some Reprol gel on there, put some Voltaren on there. If we don't win, cool, off you go and have a knee replacement. Yeah. That medical model. And I was like, okay, hold on. There's got to be a better way to do this. Because I generally tell my patients, we're a surgery avoidance center. I'm trying to get you to avoid surgery.
Away from it, 100%.
No, let's not go get cut as the first line of defense. And I went to, yesterday, a client came in, had a bit of neck pain. Straight to a surgeon. And she's like, just wanted to cut me. So I was like, but hold on, you went to a barber.
That's his job as well, 100%.
His name is surgeon. He just,
that's what he does.
That's what he does. So don't be pissed off with the guy because he wants to do his job. And needless to say, he didn't want to operate because there was nothing wrong. But people tend to, and you use the word specialists. Remember that a surgeon is a specialist who uses a knife. A specialist physician is somebody who uses medication. Yeah. A chiropractor is a specialist who specializes in hands. We use hands, no drugs, and we try to avoid drugs and surgery. That's the philosophy. So we're always going to have that. Let's try and improve brain cell, tissue cell communication using our hands. We're trying to avoid drugs and surgery in the process.
Okay. So that gives us quite a nice understanding of chiro. And then functional medicine, I think, maybe sometimes a bit misunderstood. Yeah. Like, guys hear functional medicine, and you use the term quite often, Chinese medicine, which is probably even more misunderstood by the general public. Okay, and then we had a discussion the other day where we spoke about, and I kind of agreed with you. Is say for instance, we know, okay, omega-3 that'll bring down inflammation, so on, so on, so on. But just prescribing this omega-3 to someone that's eating whatever they want.
Counteracts.
It counteracts. So let's talk about maybe some frustrations with that as well, and something you've seen. I know you experienced that. So
when we gave that sugar talk,
yes.
And I think that's the biggest frustration is the guys will come in, and I see this regularly. A guy will come in, and he's a diabetic, and he walks in with his bottle of Diet Coke. You're like, okay, who gave you this advice? Like, how does this fit in? And philosophically, it doesn't agree with my philosophy. But if you look at it from a scientific point, well, he's drinking something that doesn't have sugar in it, it's not going to spike his insulin, and he's going to be okay. But those behaviors very often are what got him to where he is right now. So we're going to start looking at the behavior the guy's making. And the vast majority of people are misinformed. They haven't got the foggiest clue. And they'll drink, and I saw a guy yesterday as well, he drinks 2 liters of Coke a day, riddled with inflammation. I mean, he was just a walking ball of swelling.
So what does the inflammation do? So just explain to guys, what does inflammation actually do to the body?
Swelling is a healing response.
Yeah.
It's swelling, pain, tenderness, a heat. It's all the way the metabolism is used in the body to try and remove something that shouldn't be there, or an injury, or metabolic... what do you call it? The metabolic things that are left over. Oh, the name will come to me just now. But it's that stuff sits there and the body says, well, let's draw more blood into the area, that's why it goes red. It gets hot because the metabolism increases. It swells often because there's more white blood cells in the area, and then trying to clean up whatever it is that was damaged, muscle, ligament, cartilage. It's supposed to be short-lived. Sometimes lifestyle decisions make that traumatic experience that was supposed to be short-lived last longer than what it should have. And then you get chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation is what everyone is struggling with at the moment. Most people are sore all the time. They're just waking up and they're grumpy. They don't have a short-lived healing response or a healing crisis, and then it gets better, and then they're sorted out.
Artists.
Yeah.
The artists.
Yeah. So when you've got conditions that end in itis, sinusitis, arthritis, tendonitis, conjunctivitis, colitis, if it ends in itis, it has to do with inflammation. And probably the biggest factor, or the biggest thing you could do right now to get rid of an inflammatory response in the body is removing sugar.
The easiest and the quickest.
Easiest, quickest way is to get rid of sugar.
You touched on something really good there. So you said that it's a behavioural thing. So if the guy will walk in and he'll drink a Coke Light, for argument's sake. Previously, before that, he was drinking a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
He lacks, or she lacks, the discipline to cut that up because it's a nice to have. So it's about also helping people to create better disciplines in their life. Not just about, okay, this will make you better, but as part of your journey, let me help you start to create discipline. Because as human beings, especially our generation, and I see it with a lot of the younger people as well, they lack discipline. So they will work at normal hours. So the millennials will choose not to work certain hours because it's flexible for me, let me do it my way.
Yes.
What about going to gym 4 times a week? Okay, I'll go, but I'll do it randomly when I feel like it.
Yeah.
And you go back in history and you say, hey, we'll go back to Navy books or Army books or the SEALs or whatever it is. They're successful in their execution because they apply discipline. And especially with people that are new to something and don't really have an understanding of it, I think, and often, and I've seen it several times, is get that person to understand the basics, but get them to apply discipline to it.
The thing is, the discipline comes with one of 2 things. One is going to be a push decision to say, okay, I've got a lot of pain and I better do something about it, which is what I make my money on, is people make bad decisions, end up having pain, and then they go, okay, doc, I've got to do something about this. I've got to get better. The second the pain goes,
back to the old ways.
Or the one that I appreciate more is being pushed into a disciplinary process by motivation and inspiration. And looking at something like, I really want that. And there's got to be that aha moment. That aha moment is what I had with the Doc Marty protocol.
Yes.
I started.
Yes, so for those of you that don't know, Marty runs it's for free, it's on Facebook now, and we'll give you a link to that in the notes. But it's called the Doc Marty protocol, and it basically runs through, I'll just give a brief and you can go a little bit more in depth. It goes through how Marty currently lives his life, and from feeling unwell or unclear to now feeling clear. And this is kind of going to be the meat and potatoes, so I think we can touch on it a bit and then in and out and
we'll go
the
back
process
to it.
of how you got into that. So Doc Marty protocol, give us a bit of an understanding of
that. Was, I think I saw a quote yesterday. It said, be the guy you're pretending to be. And in your job, if you're in a position where you've got to deal with people all the time, you've got to be dynamic. You've got to be that guy. And in the background, what's happening in the kitchen, it's not always what you portray to
Oh,
everyone.
100%.
that's
And
a big thing.
I had a little moment with myself, and what happened was I ended up joining all night. Really disappointed the girlfriend. I had to pick up at the airport. I slept through. I was so hungover. A mate of mine just got out of hand with me, and we ended up having this all-nighter. And I had this moment. I got home, my girlfriend was crying her eyes out, and she thought, no, you've neglected me, you know. And just something went, this is not cool. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're going to throw this relationship away. Something's not right here, Marty. And I almost talked to myself. I said, boy, come, you've got to get this under control. So there was this moment, and I thought, okay, well, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, but I'm clearly self-medicating, and I'm using alcohol to try and cope with the stress I'm under. My body's always sore. I'm always tired. I'm drinking 5 coffees a day to cope with the stress. So I run a busy practice, and I'm trying to maintain this I'm fine, but I'm fueling it on coffee, and it's a problem. And I was like, okay, Marty, you've studied functional medicine. You can't really go somewhere right now for help, but what the hell are you going to do? So I thought, okay, well, since the colon is the root of all evil, do we need a fan on?
No.
It's getting hot in here. Maybe get
So part of my job is to make sure that things are still running.
get that door open, maybe. We get some air in here. I think we're all going to lose a kilo.
Do you want to go grab it?
Sauna session. Yeah.
So that's actually funny because Ruby just spoke about discipline and that aha moments. I think that when we were talking about the millennials or even ourselves, you know, I deal with clients all the time and myself because you can slip into these little patterns.
and you can slip in and out of them.
Yeah,
Bounce up, down, bounce up and down.
so many guys, I can preach as much as I like. I can be like, do this. And people go, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
And clearly I can look at them and you can see they're not fine.
Yeah.
And guys may live,
Thank you.
we talk about millennials working funny hours and all this stuff. They might live feeling tired, but they don't actually realize they're tired because they're just so used to that feeling. So that click has to come somewhere, and only after the click or the trauma or whatever negative experience, that's when
I needed pain. I needed pain to push me through.
You only feel that once you hit the burnout.
Yeah.
Once you hit that burnout, you're just like, wow, I'm in a bad space right now.
Yeah, and I was oblivious to that fact, you know. And then I sat there and I was like, okay, Marty, you've got to get this show on the road. Yeah, where are you going to start? And that's the story I shared with you. We ended up going for colon hydrotherapy, and I said to a patient, I was like, that's it, I'm doing this thing. I've been thinking about it for so long. Let's go. And they were like, okay, Marty, you're being a bit extreme here. And I said, but I want to be extremely healthy. There's something going on with my system.
So take it back once, because I've also got a story on colon hydrotherapy. You know, you can love this one as well. So
You tell on your own, yeah.
So take it back quickly. Explain what is colon hydrotherapy. Why the hell would you want to do colon hydrotherapy?
Every single seminar I attend, every single one, whether it's about Alzheimer's disease or chronic inflammation, arthritis, or allergies, whatever, it always ends up saying, guys, you've got to get the guys on probiotics. You've got to look after their colon. It always boils down to colon. And I'm assuming that there's a lot of industry, or there's a lot of money going into probiotics right now, because a lot of the seminars push us in that direction. But the more I look at the science behind it, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, well, you're not cool unless you're drinking kefir or some kombucha. You're not drinking
Some
kombucha.
fermented.
You need
something.
kombucha or you're not
Your
going in
energy
the right
drink doesn't
direction.
have probiotics, and I don't want to talk to you.
I drink sparkling water, guys.
Which I got banned from. We'll get there. So the root of good health, or the center of the universe, is your colon. And the
Your second brain.
big time.
Yeah.
And 70% of your immune system is inside the gut. We've got this open hole here, an open hole there. Food's got to go, and the external world has to go into my body. And my body has to decide which particles are good, and I'm going to let them in. And which particles are bad, I'm going to keep them out. And that sieve that you've got over there, where good comes in and bad stays out, is the immune system. And 70% of the immune system sits in the intestine. You've asked people if they've got an immune disorder, you're like, where's your immune system? Well, people don't really know. Gut. That's really where the majority of it is. And I thought, okay, well, so for 40 years, you've misbehaved and you've eaten stuff that's kind of been good. Have you ever cleaned up? Have you ever done a spring clean? And this colon hydro had been coming up often. And the reason I went towards colon hydrotherapy, I know it was drastic, but it was, a mate of mine was runs a CrossFit box in the States. And he told me about it and said, Marty, this is out of this world. And the reason why he was introduced to it was because he was diagnosed with cancer. He decided he wants to go the alternative route. Ended up at a clinic in Spain, and it was integral to their therapy. They would do coffee enemas. And I phoned up Natasha in Bedford View, and she came highly recommended. And I said, okay, listen, I've heard about coffee enemas. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but let's do this thing. And in her consultation, I went in, I made an appointment, and she said, look, a coffee enema is not the first step. You do that once you clean. And I was like, okay, how do I get clean then? She said, well, we do a colon hydrotherapy session. And she's like, well, when would you like to start? I said, I'm in the room, let's do this thing right now. I don't want to think about it. So she said, all right, cool, hop up on the bench. I sat down on the bench and I was like, oh, and you start getting sweaty. You're like, okay, I don't really know what I'm here for. So let's do this thing. So she said, okay, go into the room, put on a gown, drop the rods. All you're wearing is this gown and it's open at the back. And you're like, and then the nerves start. And she's like, all right, come, hop on the chair quickly. And she's so soft and endearing, like a mother figure. So you don't really feel uncomfortable in her presence. The discomfort comes now. You sit on the couch. She says, okay, do me a favor. Well, not on the couch, on the table. Lie on your side. So, Martin, I'm going to just pull up your gown. And I'm going to lift your cheek lightly. I'm going to insert the speculum. So it'll be a little bit uncomfortable, but there is Vaseline on it, so you'll be okay. I was like, is it weird if we make eye contact? Make eye contact with you. And I was like, no, okay, listen. So then I was sitting on my side. I was like, okay, Marty, this is hectic. Look, this is hectically invasive. And we know as guys, we've never been probed by a gynae. Like, it was hectic. I've never had my prostate exam done. It was hardcore. So I'm lying on my side. And it's as if my spirit just kind of hopped out of my body and said, yeah, you deal with it, Tom. I don't have chance. I had this viewpoint of me from the side going, off you go. So she says, I'm going to lift your cheek, in you go. And it's like in the movies where you just kind of like, and then you go, I can explain, you've got no nerve endings on the inside of you. Otherwise, you'd feel what's going on in your colon. So you don't feel anything. You feel discomfort.
That pressure.
On the knot.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, yeah, it's not lekker, I'm not cool. And it's just, okay, it's done. You think, okay, I can live with this. Then you roll onto your back, and you lie there, and I said, okay, are we done? And she said, no, we're going to be here for about 30 minutes. And then the machine starts to push water. It's got this weird, like a big pen, where you've pulled the middle out of the big pen, and water goes in, and then it gets sucked out. And it's washing the colon. Spent about 20-30 minutes doing that, having a chat, discussing life. You start to get a little bit deep. It's weird. As you work on your intestine, and I was going through quite a bit of stuff at the time. And then she says, okay, you ready for a block? I was like, okay, what is a block? And she says, we're going to let water in, no water out. And we're going to keep going until you're uncomfortable.
And that uncomfortable feeling comes in so intense. It actually feels like you're about to blow.
Yeah, bad. So I said to her, I was like, okay, let's go. And I said, okay, what's the longest somebody's ever lasted? Let's just know.
Competitive, egotistical male.
Let's do this thing. I'm going to break it. So it was 6 minutes. And that water's going. So I thought, all right, let's go. I think I managed 1 minute and 30. And then I said to her, okay, if you don't pull this thing out, I'm going to shit on your bed. Right here, right now. She's like, Marty, your football is holding your thing so tight right now. You're not going to do anything. And you're worried you're going to leak. And you're like, oh, this is so horrible. And your stomach fills and fills and fills and fills. And then you'll literally be like, okay, this is really weird. She says, Chica, take a deep breath in. And then it dissipates. And that's the pressure of it literally going past feces that are stuck in the intestine, bypassing it and starting to work its way up. And you feel it moving up here and doing like a bit of a cleanse. It's the weirdest sensation. So she says, so I was like, okay, listen, it's time out. She lets the pressure go. And I thought, oh, you just breathe. And you got a lack of sweat going. You're like, just this is hardcore. Lie on your side. Out it goes. And I was like, okay, is that it? She said, no, you're going to go to the toilet now.
And you drip a bit on the way to the toilet.
Yeah, you walk sheepishly. You know? And I was like, what's going on? Penguin. And she said, just go to the loo, do what you need to do. The doors are thick, the walls are thick, whatever comes out, comes out. So I thought, all right, let's do this thing. And I sat on the loo, and the bowel movement, she reckons up to 8 bowel movements are released in that session. And I know it's gross as hell to speak about, but the stench. Yeah, that's okay.
You love.
The stench was unlike anything I'd experienced. I thought, geez, I didn't know that it's that.
But how long do you reckon that stuff is sitting in your colon?
She reckons she's had people that she could see feces that have completely calcified. That are, and when they do exams, they look at it and all sorts.
Don't they say red meat can sit there for years? Years.
And the smell kind of alludes. It could possibly be. So then I walked out, and I was like, and it's wow, your stomach just dumps, and you just go and go and go and go, and you're kind of wiping your brow, going, is it ever going to stop? Eventually, you clean up, you put your clothes on, you walk out, and I was like, okay, I'm a bit shaky. I said, Jay, have you got some water for me, please? I feel like I've just been invaded. It was hectic. It's quite an experience.
Yeah.
Had a glass of water, and she's like, yeah, so Martin, how are you feeling? I went, I don't know. Like, I just had a thing shoved up my pupil. I'm taking a bit of strain here. I'm not so happy. And she said, okay, well, listen, it should get better. You should feel okay. We'll see what happens. So I paid, got a couple of my supplements, got my kefir water.
Yes.
Because you're cool like that. You're cool like that,
Yeah.
you had to have it.
Walk out, get in the car, drive. As I hit the highway, the song sounds good. The next minute, the volume's up. So I'm like, yes, this is a good track, hey. Oh my God. Next minute, onto the phone with my girlfriend. Yeah, I love you, my girl. Like, I feel so amazing. I was overwhelmed with a sense of like, oh my God, what's happened to my body? Like, I feel incredible. Second person I phoned, Hubert, you got irritable bowel. You got to come and do this. I feel incredible. You always moaning about your colon. It's like, and I went on. And I was just like, I've discovered something really freaking cool. Like, really cool. It's hectic, but it's the way I felt. It's like, geez, like, is this what I'm supposed to feel like? This is not the Martin who wakes up, needs 3 coffees before he gets to work, has a fat burner, does gym, maybe sneaks a little Red Bull every now and again, is completely fatigued. There was none of that. And that's where that word clear came up. Is when I started the colon hydro, I started my clarity of thought turned on.
So this is, just before we carry on with this now, is this kind of, because we're going to be talking about intermittent fasting, which is obviously a massive buzzword at the moment. But was this before you were experimenting with this type of stuff? Or did you do the colon first and you're like, I don't want to not feel like this ever. What else can I do to feel like this?
So I started to develop this addiction to podcasts. And I was like, okay, Marty, you are running in the morning, or you're trying to do gym. And I did modify that a little.
Don't leave the colon story.
Okay, so colon was...
Let's finish the colon story.
So the colon scenario was really just about, the first R of gut restoration is remove. And remove offending substances like sugar, wheat, dairy, and get the colon cleansed. And I said to her, well, listen, can't we do this in a less invasive way? Can't I just tell those pills that they give you before colonoscopy and you eradicate in 30 minutes, everything's sorted? I've done the Heal the Clot cleanse as well. Couple of years back, where you drink bicarb of soda and you flush for gallstones, and it's not pleasant. I would choose a colon hydrotherapy session over that any day, because there you literally have the shits for a whole day, and all you sit on the toilet the whole time. And what Natasha is really good at what she does, she said she's examined the anus and she's seen colon irritation in people up to 3, 4, 5 months after they've done those types of releases. So instead of having an irritant, because when you drink those brews or you drink the tablets to clean the colon, essentially you're irritating it. The body flushes it out with water.
Actually having a reaction.
Yeah, you've irritated your intestine. You haven't soothed it. And you can have it washed. We live in this incredible time where you can wash your colon out. It's fascinating.
It's like going to the car wash.
Yeah, it's mad, eh? So, when I had that, and I was like, okay, rats. So now you've cleaned out that side, and it's once a week for a while, and you know when you're done. So you start to become more intuitive, and you listen to the gut feel, the second brain. You start listening to your intestine. You're like, I need more, and then the day comes, you're like, I'm done. I don't need this anymore. It's weird. And then I was like, okay, so rat, you're cleaning out the colon, what now? Are you going to start watching what you put in your mouth? And that's when I started with the diet.
That was
go ahead. How many sessions did you go for?
10.
10 sessions.
10 sessions. And maybe 2 of them were kind of uneventful. You leave going, okay, that wasn't so great. But each and every time, you're cleaning more and more junk out. And then the benefit to discomfort ratio gets skewed. You're like, yeah, come over it now. It's not a pleasant experience by any means.
Yeah.
But you sometimes get over yourself as well.
See, I went for mine, and it was that exact same thing that you just spoke about now. I went for mine, and I was younger at the time, so I knew that there was a problem.
And it's not something people speak about.
Yeah, no,
So it's not.
I'm quite open about it.
No, I'm also like,
But
get better.
I went there because someone had mentioned, I can't even remember who it was, but I think your stomach lining is actually gone because of all the abuse. I had so many chemicals in my system, steroid use, all sorts of things from the bodybuilding scene and the jawling scene. So my stomach was broken. Couldn't lose weight. I was trying fat burners. It's just a complete mess. Went for a session. I lost 15 kilos off of one session.
Crazy.
Within the next 3 weeks after that, and the system just started running.
It's inflammation.
But the biggest problem was, after that, I was like, I can just do whatever I want now. And then started eating everything the same as what I was before and went straight back into that hole. It took me a longer period, maybe a year or two, but straight back down. So that's a big mistake that I think people make, and with anything, one click, I'm sorted.
There's got to be constant maintenance. Yeah. My clients sometimes come in, they're like, oh, so I heard chiro is once you start, you never stop. I went, well, why did you stop brushing your teeth? Like, just, you brushed them once, it's fine. Let's see where you're at in 5 years. Why wouldn't you look after your spine and the rest of your body in the same way? It's crazy. So from a colon hydrotherapy perspective, I don't think it's something I'd want to do regularly all the time because it is uncomfortable and it's hectic. But it is something now I feel after December, which was gin and tonic, beer, wine, pizza, pasta. There was just let loose. Maybe not a bad idea to just do 1 or 2 sessions, get cleaned up again.
And it's not a bad starting point for people that'll be like, listen, I'm a mess. I don't know what to do. I try to put things in my mouth, but I'm feeling fed up. Maybe it's a good starting point.
For me, it was a great starting point because it's extreme. And then you're like, okay, well, you've just had the most invasive experience of your entire life. Are you going to ruin it by eating crap, not training, not drinking water? Like, come on, man. Like, put some effort in here. Yeah. And that's how you know the guys are serious. I got a guy who's a full-on gangster, motorbike, tattoos. Yeah, I got him to go. Changed his life.
Lovely.
He was drinking 5 Red Bulls a day, Coke all the time. He was a recovered drug addict. So he'd just gone from drug use to sugar and just loading his body with stimulants the whole time. If I can convince that guy to go, he's the least likely person you'd ever imagine to go, then we know we're onto something. And he's a better human as a result.
If you want the number, you can message us. We won't tell anyone that you want the number.
Probably put the contact details up there.
And she's superb. She's a phenomenal practitioner. I can't rate her high enough.
Yeah, so let's look at the buzzword. Okay, the meat and potatoes. We've had arguments with people about this subject that's about to come up. I know that you bring it up at a dinner party and people get offended. They leave. All sorts of things.
All sorts of things happen.
So people are very protective over their eating habits. And let's maybe talk about the just of intermittent fasting, and then we can get into maybe some science of sugar, how your hormones get affected by your eating patterns, and so on. So intermittent fasting. Why? What?
So, as I mentioned, I'm hooked on podcasts. This is my addiction for the last 6 months to over a period of time. And
now you're in one. Can you believe?
Yeah, man. So I started selecting people that I thought, wow, they're speaking sense. They're following science, but they also have got some type of philosophy behind them. Just people that I've gelled with and went, okay, right. Rhonda Patrick, you sent me the podcast with Joe.
Amazing, she blew my mind yesterday.
Now I've been listening to her, and I've listened to every single podcast of hers. The sugar podcast that I gave you is hers.
So that's Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She's a scientist, and a lot of people, when it comes up to intermittent fasting, they're like, oh, there's no science behind it, all this stuff. Listen to her, strong science on how these foods affect your body and the metabolic pathways, inflammation, acidity, and so on.
So looking through those podcasts, I had this common thread that kept coming up. That intermittent fasting really offers you benefits. How can we increase autophagy? And autophagy is getting the body into a state of stress which starts to recycle metabolites. That was the word I was looking for. Recycling used and kind of unwanted cells. So if you take your body through what's called hormesis, healthy stress, We've all taken the word stress and gone, oh, it's evil. But stress is actually quite good sometimes. And one of the stresses that's really good for us, sauna therapy. Saunas are ridiculously good for you. You know, there's a study that said 3 saunas a week. 5 saunas a week decreased your risk of heart attack by 50%. And 2 to 3 saunas a week was dropping your risk of heart attack by 20%. And measured across all variables.
And can help with maintenance of muscle mass as well.
Virgin Active.
Well, it's always jam-packed.
They're going to make 100 and it'll still be...
But even normal training is stressful on your body.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And it's got to maintain that sense. It's called hormesis. It's good stress. So we've got to try to find this happy medium. Say, okay, what's good for me? So funny enough, patient walks in 2 days ago. Him, his entire family, and about 5 friends have decided to do a 21-day water fast. That's hardcore. You know, and I started becoming again...
How the camera's doing, okay? Sure.
The fasting that was recommended to me by my mate who ran the CrossFit box who had cancer, he's like, Marty, look into the intermittent fasting. It's actually really worthwhile. And that started that thread. I followed all the scientists and went, okay, let's give it a go. Let's see what this is all about. Because I was telling people in my corporate wellness programs, you got to eat breakfast, snack at 10 o'clock, lunch at 12, snack at 2, like you got to eat all the time.
So you've actually done a full, like 360.
Yeah, you know,
360.
there's a saying, today's expert is tomorrow's fool.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so cautious to act as if I'm the authority. Like I'm just literally taking information from really clever people and trying to get that information to my patients and let them live a better quality of life. Yeah, big time. We've got the best antibiotics and the best medicines out there. But when it comes to chronic disease, we lost the plot. We can't just medicate people and keep them medicated and then let them have Coke Light. There has to be information that gets given to people so that those people can make better decisions. Those decisions help their body function a little bit differently. And we've got to just get that information out there.
Okay, so let's go back to...
Yeah, we get started.
Yeah, I know sometimes we go down the rabbit hole and it's fine. But let's get back to intermittent fasting. You're made from America. That's where you live.
And he said, Marty, just go for a 16-8 ratio. Start eating at 8.
Okay, but what is intermittent fasting?
Okay, so
first of all,
it's
so
about,
before we go into the ratio.
normally what happens is we'll give people diets and we'll restrict their calories and we'll say you're not allowed to put this much food on a plate. Intermittent fasting says you can eat within a certain amount of time. It's restricting the time you're allowed to eat rather than the amounts that you're allowed to eat. And it's quite a workable solution. I think out of the diets I've tried, and I did the leptin replenishment diet and I did the zone for quite a while, and you're counting blocks and I count 21 grams of cheese, mix that with a little bit of avo and have a little bit of this. It's not sustainable. You did a diet.
Yeah.
Where you went into ketosis.
Yeah, we did a health point keto, yeah.
Is it a livable?
Yeah, eventually you just slip out of it.
45 days for me was enough.
That's madness.
I did 45 days and that was it.
I don't think it's sustainable, and that's the
think
same
what
as these guys that
tends to happen is you get wrapped up around the food, especially for Health Point. When we were doing Health Point, we got so wrapped around the food. You're eating 6 times a day. It's literally all you're thinking about is the food.
Yeah.
Which is not healthy. You know, you need to actually live your life doing other things, not thinking about food.
So the intermittent fasting, when I started listening again to podcasts, and Rhonda Patrick introduces and she speaks to a couple of guys. One of them is Guido Kramer, Walter Longo, and these guys have done serious research. And one of the studies that stood out was the fact that a women with breast cancer who fasted 14 hours a day had a 40% reduction in the recurrence of breast cancer, measured across all variables, for not eating. Like, it costs nothing, it doesn't really require much effort. All you have to do is eat dinner at 6 and eat your breakfast at 8. And you reduce your risk of breast cancer by 40%. And that's big stuff. We need to take notice of that type of stuff. So I was like, okay, this is starting to make sense here. And we started factoring it in and went, well, it's all worthless if you're not going to apply it. Let's go for it. So one Tuesday at the clinic, I said, okay, I'm not eating till 12 o'clock. I'm going to have water. 12 o'clock's my first meal. And I kind of had some hunger pangs and I was like, okay, it's a little bit uncomfortable. Had my first meal, had dinner. Thought, okay, well, this is livable. That was okay.
And the body adapts.
Yeah, it was fine. Now, I tried it again on the Thursday. So Thursday came in, did the same thing. Turned out I saw a whole lot more patients that day. And I had this, I was just more energized. So come 5 o'clock, last patient of the day, I was still like on fire with this guy. And I said, okay, hold on a sec, this is really cool. My brain's firing, and I didn't get this dozy, like my head dropping down at 2:30. I thought, oh geez, I better have a snack quickly. Now I didn't have that first thing in the morning either. So the next morning, I tried eating breakfast. Come 9 o'clock, I was at the staff saying, guys, I need an apple quickly, I've got the shakes. You know, my blood sugar dropped. I thought, okay, well, what's going on here? So I mean, every time you eat, you have an insulin spike, and then that drops again, and then you get the jitters, and you quickly eat again, your body starts eating more. And I noticed if I eat breakfast, I tend to eat a lot more on the day. If I go into a fasting state, I'm more productive, I'm more focused, and it was more the head side of things that worked for me. I thought, geez, like I'm going to see more patients.
Yeah, your cognitive function is
you switch on, and you mix that with colon hydro, and you're like, okay, I'm seriously firing here. Now, previously, I would go to a seminar, and the brain would just shut down, and I'd be flicking on Instagram, I'd be getting caught up in the stuff, and here I could focus. I'd listen to a podcast for 40 minutes, and I listened to the podcast, and I knew, okay, something's good here. I started going through the process of saying, all right, intermittent fasting, colon hydrotherapy, and I thought, okay, well, there's another thing that I saw a chiropractor do a long time ago. Let me look at blood. I thought, well, listening again to podcasts, saying what we're doing is we're still stuck on this whole, oh, you did a cholesterol test, it means you're healthy. It's the same as using a Nokia 2110 and saying you're up to date. Like, it's such an old test, and it's something so archaic. We have to modify, we've got to get better. So I thought, well, let's look. My parameters that I tested were all fine. So like homocysteine, vitamin D, and they were all fine, but I still wasn't thriving. So I had heard, and a friend of mine does a lot of seminars with me, Dr. Leighton Bedfordview. He runs a business. He's got his practice, and he does live blood analysis. So I walked into his practice, said, Doc, I'm not thriving. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not thriving. I need you to help me. And I don't want to be my doctor. There was this moment where I said, I'm tired of being my own doctor. I need you to take care of me. Because we mates, don't give me a discount. Don't offer me buddy fees. I want to pay you the money. That consultation cost me almost $3,000, and I paid it so happily. I swiped that card and said, my man, what a difference. So what he did was he took a drop of blood, looked at it under a microscope, and did I get the fright of my life, because the blood was starting to aggregate, it was clotting, there was something called rouleau, my white blood cells were deficient. He was like, Marty, listen buddy, like your intestinal system really, really needs work. And I said to him, well, I'm going to start colon hydro. Well, I've been doing colon hydro, are you happy with that? He said, no problem, but we're going to add this. So they started giving me antioxidants and more omegas. I was like,
it's just like a real deep understanding of your body.
Yeah, just getting the body into a state where you're like, okay, listen, so if this body needs to function, let me give you the amino acids and the nutrients necessary for it to function properly. Because you don't get them through the diet all the time. And I said to him, I was like, hey, I'm being serious here. I'm going to start fasting. I'm going to do this live blood. You give me my supplements. I'm going to start training differently, because I was also wasting my time at gym. I need a serious change. And seeing my blood gave me a real wake-up call. When he looked at this one piece, and he said, see that? Those are mini clots. Let's get the hell out of me. I thought, no, hold on a second. I'm in good shape. Like, I'm healthy. And where am I going to end up in the next 10 years if I continue on the path that I'm going? You take the supplements, you go for your follow-ups, and your blood looks completely different. Like, completely different. Which now led to me having my own microscope, my own lab, and we do our blood analysis at the clinic. I've been studying my butt off since that time. So that's something we'll have up and running in about March this year. But the live blood analysis was a game changer for me. It's by no means medical. It's not something that the medical doctors look at and go, oh, okay, like there's something worthwhile. It is fringe, and it's not yet in the scientific world, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I saw my blood look healthier after a protocol that I followed. I felt incredible. And one of the side effects was that I started looking at the mirror all of a sudden and went, geez, like, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Like, I don't have this roll that's always over my jeans that I've never gotten rid of my entire 30s.
So one thing so let's say I know you've lost quite a bit of weight. Okay, you're obviously feeling like,
I was 84, and mid-December I got it down to about 77, which was a bit too light.
Yeah.
So I, over December, put on about 2-3 kilos again. But I'm not comfortable. I want to go another kilo or two down, and it's quick. I've dropped a kilo this week already.
But the main thing is
good principles of diet.
The weight loss is obviously a good side effect of, or the fat loss rather, is a good side effect of the intermittent fasting. But it's not. This is the kind of message that I've been trying to portray onto people that we've spoken about. It's not necessarily just about calorie restriction. You know, you can still have a good calorie amount in your eating window, and not necessarily want to lose weight and keep your energy levels up. It's not necessarily just about dropping calories. It's about getting the right things in that window as well.
Nutrient density. Calories are not made equal.
Yes.
So drinking a can of Coca-Cola and having a bucket of broccoli is the same calories. Very different metabolic pathways.
Completely different.
Very different insulin response and very different outcome in how the body's physiology behaves.
Obviously, if it was as easy as calories in, calories out, everyone would just be
Everyone would
ashamed.
be doing that.
The filter's going to measure 65 your test times, so treat it completely different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that analogy. Yeah.
So yeah, I did the intermittent fasting, but I also removed sugar, wheat, and dairy. So basically, I moved towards like a.
So again, those three, what do they do to this? Because I know we're going to be into this when we end, but if
Yeah, maybe we'll do another podcast on that one day.
I'm telling you, but a man with a budget may not go do blunts, may not go do the hydrotherapy. But what's those three things? If he cuts them out, what's the benefit he's going to get from them?
Well, you're going to decrease inflammation, and inflammation is directly related to aging. So if you look at a can of Coke, they have discovered now that a soft drink a day decreases telomere length. And your telomeres are the little spirals of DNA, and the ends fall off, and it increases the loss of those by 4.5 years. So essentially, you're aging metabolically if you're having one soft drink a day.
Also, I saw one soft drink a day. To alkaline that in your body takes about 32 glasses of water.
It must be crazy.
So you drink one of those, but they say Diet Coke takes even more glasses because of how acidic it is, and how it puts all
you just Google
into your
aspartame
system.
and you're like, why would I put that in my body?
That does to future generations. So we don't even know, because you essentially starting to
Change our DNA.
change
Yeah.
DNA, genes.
Hectically.
Yeah. So and we haven't changed for 50,000 years. Biology, from a biologically point of view, we still the same eat. So we have the same drives inside of us. So if I'm hungry, my brain says, okay, we need to do this. And it's been like that before there was even buildings around. We haven't changed, but because of chemicals in it now, we actually are starting to change our bodies. And that's just, if you listen to, from a leadership point of view, listen to a lot of the stuff that Simon Sinek talks about.
Yes.
He talks about biology. So, and how driven and how you can apply those same drivers to people, and the same applies to just that simple eating patterns and how much more motivated we can be.
I did those diets also, and they were so difficult to sit and measure my amount of calories, and you're not allowed to eat that, and you're not allowed to eat that, and I think it becomes so overwhelming. I worked with a naturopath who used to own this building, and he'd put people on fish and rice for like 6 months. And his completion rate was almost zero. Everybody bombed out, and they would come to me secretly and go, "I can't do his diet, that's crazy." And it's too extreme. I don't think it's that extreme if you tell people, "Listen, I need you to cut down on sugar a little bit."
Yeah.
And they start to go, "Well, I can do that." And if you tell them, "Listen, you know that's aging you, you know it's actually contributing to that arthritis."
For people that don't know, Marty's actually 40 years old. 41.
40 now.
40 years old. He obviously discovered the fountain of youth. He doesn't look 40 years old. So when he talks about being youthful, that's something that you can really take into account.
No, youth, man, I think youth is also
The state of mind.
the way you speak. You know, I get so many clients that come in like, "Oh, you know, I'm backsliding me, it must be my age." I'm like, dude, you're 38. Like, what are you talking like it for? Like, lie to your body. It doesn't know the difference between an imagined reality and what it's seeing out there. So how about you just make it think it's young? So I think maybe that's got a
Something to do with that.
yeah.
Have you not thought that you've had less sleep on intermittent fasting and been able to function more?
I've definitely had better sleep.
Yeah.
Definitely, without a doubt.
And the hours that you sleep in there?
Sleeping.
Because when I started fasting, I went
I'm
from
waking
sleeping
up
like 8 hours, I was sleeping 6 hours, and then having more energy throughout my day.
I've definitely felt my quality of sleep's better. Definitely.
A lot
I'm
better.
also trying now to intermittent fast my cell phone and get off that horrible device that's got me connected to the world
So
constantly.
we actually, and we started it last year, we don't have our cell phones in our bedroom at all anymore. We don't
Yeah,
charge
put them
our
outside.
phones and we charge them in the kitchen.
Digital detoxes.
Yeah, so we banned the cell phone from the bedroom, just as a start point.
Love it.
And it's we've been disciplined. I mean, I travel a lot for what I do, And even when I'm not alone, my wife puts it, she's still 12 people away from her, which is a good thing. And it's just that quality of conversation changes a lot, you know.
I think we're going to get into that blue light
I saw a thing you put. I saw a thing you put out the other day. Was material happiness.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines.
Yeah, I just realized that we're never ever going to be happy because we're constantly feeding our brain with information of how happy other people are. All I ever see on Facebook is how wonderfully you're doing. You don't post when you're having a bad day.
No, never.
It's because we live for instant gratification.
Yes, constantly being shown that the world is so happy and everyone's doing so great and they've got new cars and new things and you're comparing yourself all the time. When people come in, good friend of mine, miserable as anything, oh, Mart, I should have achieved more. And I went, hold on a sec here. Like, what do you mean you should have? What does it even mean? Like, why would you discuss yourself and say you should have? Like, it isn't. Don't worry about it. And first thing I said, get off the Instagram, get off Facebook. I think the biggest problem for the millennials.
I think I know who this friend was. But we're going to go down another rabbit hole here. So I think we're going to be closing up soon.
Yeah.
I just wanted to just close a little bit up more on intermittent fasting, and so the guys can have a little bit of a better understanding and how they can explore going into it. So one of the main things is that we're getting in we call it our fraternities, is that performance-driven athletes and calorie-restrictive diets that obviously don't necessarily mix.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I brought up the point of not necessarily restricting calories, as well as looking at intermittent fasting is not the only system, especially in time-restricted eating. I watched Dr. Rhonda Patrick, and she had time-restricted eating. She'd eat in the morning and make sure she stopped eating at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Because we're nocturnal animals, that allows our system to shut down regularly, and she gets all the calories she needed, and she gets muscle growth, increased performance, all that type of stuff. So I know that a couple of people are going to be jumping on being like, performance athletes can't, and we're not saying that this is necessarily the be-all and end-all and for performance athletes. You know, this is if you want to go from sickness to health, unclear to clear, unwell to
I'm by
well.
no means a performance athlete, and I don't smash out high-intensity workouts all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that the information I'm giving applies to that group. Maybe there's somebody else who can give a better.
There's another guy, Corey G. He's changed it to an anabolic fasting diet, where he's added more of insulin spikes and he's worked on that just to get onto the training side of things.
Yeah, like I'm by no means an authority. It's just I'm giving in the Doc Marty protocol. It's like, guys, hey, I used to feel like shit every single day and I wasn't thriving. I'm doing better now. I'm living a life of complete gratitude. Like living in a state of, oh my God, I feel amazing all the time.
Yes.
And I'd like to share that process
And
with
this
people.
is
But
how
I'm
I
not
did
telling
it.
you this is the only way to do it.
Yeah.
So in closing, we obviously, I know you've got a lot of things going on here. People are going to want to get hold of you, either to chat about the fasting experience, maybe some bloods, get Natasha's details from you, whatever the case may be. How do people interact with you? What are your steps forward? What's going to happen from here?
So we started that little group, the Doc Marty Protocol, started 2 months ago. We're on almost 300 members.
And that's on Facebook, yeah?
Yeah, the Doc Marty Protocol on Facebook is a closed group. You have to answer 2 secret questions before you're allowed on the group. I make it very, I'm very straightforward about the fact that it's not medical advice. And if you've got a disease or something, speak to your doctor about it and get that sorted out and get permission so that you can start doing the things I do. And that it was more of an experiment of me saying, guys, I want to show you what it is that I eat at lunchtime. Let me show you what I'm eating at dinner. A guy messaged me, he's like, Marty, I did this CrossFit workout, I did this, and it's not working for me. And I went, well, then have a banana. Like, it's not, you don't have to do what I'm doing, but I'm just going to show you. And then I've got other people that are losing weight like crazy who are really happy. So you can get hold of the group. It's the Doc Marty Protocol. My name or my avatar on Facebook is Doc Marty. You can always just friend request me on that. The clinic that we run is called the Spine Clinic, 73 Linksfield. You'll find that also on Facebook. You can like our page. The studio that we've attached to the Spine Clinic is Balance Yoga. Balance Yoga is slowly generating into a proper movement center. The live blood analysis is going to be called Balance, live blood analysis. Now I've got Thai massage therapy and biokinetics. The bio, Craig van Heerden, he's just out of this world.
We'll have him on a show.
He's definitely somebody you want to podcast. You know, I don't often feel intimidated by people's intelligence. He's a smart human, and he intimidates me because he's super smart and he's a hell of a character. And I think him, myself, Terry, Mimi, Geta, Michelle, the team that's here are just, there's miracles coming. There's some really big plans.
We should have a coffee podcast, like short 30 minutes, have them all in one room.
And just go.
And just go. Yeah.
Some quick fires.
Yeah.
I hope we got some information across to people. Can I go over the intermittent fasting protocol quickly?
Yes, go to it.
It's a question I have. So I don't have anything, or I don't have any knowledge about it, which a lot of people don't have. What are the basics? How do I apply it? And then I want to start listening to podcasts and get more knowledge around it. And I think that's what we want to get across to people.
So I start eating at 12 o'clock, just lunchtime. No food passes the mouth till 12 o'clock. You should be having about 3 liters of water a day. Push for that. First meal at 12, then that's your feeding time. You can eat for 8 hours. If you want to eat more often, that's okay. No problem. I eat lunch and I eat dinner. Chicken, salad, fish, and vegetables. I avoid all sugar. And one of the cardinal rules there is that there must at least be 2 to 3 hours of a break before you go to bed. It's well documented that if you eat before you sleep, you're going to have disrupted sleep. And if you're not sleeping correctly, I don't care what you do, you're not going to be healthy. You have to recover. We were talking about that, saying the guys are training all the time. Training. You got to recover. So those are the basic rules. And it's really simple. It's so easy to follow.
So eat at 12, eat around 6 o'clock and go to bed at 9 o'clock.
That's it.
More or less.
That's it.
And
Wake up, eat again.
fish, chicken, salad,
wait
and
till
veg.
12.
If it's not in there and it's a pizza or it's a pasta, avoid it a little bit, you know. And I do cheat. But it was after I got to the goal weight and started going, geez, like, this is really awesome. I'm feeling great. I'm allowed a pizza today.
80-20 rule, the Pareto rule applies to everything.
You know, I figured out, I looked at the 80-20 rule. If you misbehave for, I think it was 15 days in December. So let's say, I think it was 2 weeks I worked out. And you cheated every single day. You're not allowed to cheat meal till April.
Wow.
So
a lot of
April.
people say they live at 80-20, but we don't.
No.
We don't. I was totally skewed. I was like
80-20 every hour.
Yeah.
But the Pareto rule is a basic science for people to understand. And it's easy. It's like a CrossFit.
If they apply properly.
With CrossFit applied a lot. They say we are a data-driven movements. They say science. They're actually starting something like in the future probably around more science and healthy living.
I think CrossFit's going to be the hospital of the future.
100%.
It's an inevitable end point is that your CrossFit trainers who are brought into functional fitness are going to end up doing functional medicine, are going to help people grow their own veggies.
People are becoming scientists.
You're big time, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's
awesome.
platform, so we don't have to have a piece of paper up on the wall to say we're scientists. Because there's people out there that are so super smart because they've taken the time to apply this.
Podcast.
And science only applies based on experimentation. So science is only applicable in proven.
Yeah.
There's a great book called the China Study.
Great book.
Yeah, it talks a lot about eating as a vegetarian.
Yes.
That's 50 years worth of science. But it's science, so it's proven. And that, again, that's not for everybody. Would I follow those eating principles? Probably not, because I like eating something. I like chicken, I like fish, I like birds. I don't want to be a vegetarian or vegan, where it's not the lifestyle I've chosen right now. But there's a lot of good science
around it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, well, thanks, Marty. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, shout Marty.
If you want to see more of what we have to say, click subscribe. If you don't, click subscribe anyway. I'm sure we'll get better and you'll enjoy more.
Yeah,
So,
I think we'll schedule another one. So
yes.
have another session.
Nice discussion.
And we'll take maybe a couple more. I don't know. Maybe
Right.
a regular guest for us.
Love it.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Thanks, boys. Cheers.
Yay! Well done, guys.